So Uncle John has gone out again for his daily bus activities. Today the school is very rowdy. Yes, it just resumed and it's a Monday. And Uncle John needs that strength, like he needs that push. He has eaten eba in the morning. He eats eba around 7 a.m. in the morning, but the eba is not enough for him. He didn't like the soup very much because, well, from yesterday's sales, which was Sunday, it wasn't very good to make better pot of soup. They say better soup na money kill am, and he didn't have that kind of money to kill it. He wasn't angry about the situation, but he didn't just have enough eba to eat around 7 a.m. So Uncle John has just taken the first set of people to the campus park, and then they have paid him, and Uncle John has small money, to put in his hand. He's using one small handset that he can only buy 100 naira MTN recharge card, and it will be okay for him. So Uncle John has now used that money to buy Squadron. Yes. To push him for the day because he doesn't have money for food. He needs that dopamine. He needs every kind of energy to make him continue driving that bus. And so, well, he has gotten the Squadron, and Uncle John has drank the Squadron. And Squadron is no longer cheap. And he does this 5 times a week. And somehow his organs are going, because, well, it's not original Squadron, even it's not original, and Uncle John's organs are going, but he's happy. He's strong. Once he drinks that, he's very strong. He can push the bus. He can fight any of his colleagues that make him angry. So that is how Uncle John's routine has been for 7 years. And Uncle John is carrying a group of educated people. In a small bus. Let's just say 15 people enter that bus, and they are all intelligent, and they are all holding mobile phones. Technology has advanced, and Uncle John is still using one small handset. How can we tell Uncle John, that money you're spending on Squadron, you know that you can put it in something, and it will grow for you, and we'll keep you company. I know that you need that push, you need that vibe, you need that the encouragement you don't hear. Maybe you get the energy from Squadron. So Uncle John, we understand you. We understand that, you need that energy. But nobody around you is telling you, see, you're doing a great job. Without you, this student will not be able to go to class. Nobody is telling Uncle John that. We are just entering. We don't care. We're on our phones or maybe on our journals. We are writing. We are creating content for TikTok. Forgetting that these elders really, really hold our system very tight. If not the tightest. Because Uncle John has saved you plenty times when rain was falling and you had an exam by 10 a.m. But because Uncle John is so diligent, he's out early, and then his bus is not faulty, and then he takes you to class on time. But we don't really notice it because Uncle John is not an Uber driver on an app. So we don't thank Uncle John very much. We think Uncle John is a dirty man. Uncle John, I beg. We don't even regard him as much. We don't even look at Uncle John's face when we are entering our car. That is how much we don't regard Uncle John. Sadly, we don't notice because we are so invested in our technology, ourselves. We forget the elders around us. Don't forget, Uncle John might have lost his things in the Biafra War. Yes, because it seems like it's so long ago, but those people are still alive by now. And then the effect from that war still show in the elders. And if we really sit, we have a lot of Uncle Johns in our midst, in our families, in our environment, in our schools. There are lots of Uncle Johns. So how can we integrate the plenty Uncle Johns that we have? How can we integrate them into technology? How can we use technology to better their lives? Because it's bettering our lives. We have phones, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook. A lot of us have gotten gigs and jobs from these things, but Uncle John is so left behind, because his time and ours are different, just the way our time and his are different. But Uncle John is using his skills to help us. I've not seen any 20-something-year-old bus driver. I've not seen any bus driver in campus that also goes to school. So Uncle John's generation is doing a good job helping us get to school faster, and we should acknowledge that. So how do we now in turn help many Uncle Johns that are in our midst? And sure, maybe sometimes when you approach them, they're a little skeptical and say, this one you are being nice like this. I hope you don't want a free ride, though. And we tell them, no, we want your wisdom. And if you let us help you with our technology, Uncle John, I think we can make a very beautiful mix. Your generation is far apart, mine is far apart, so let's stay separate ways. No, I believe integration will go a long way. Do you believe so? Because imagine Uncle John has a shop, has a barbing salon, and on Sunday where people don't open so much, and somehow a person very kind that knows technology so well puts Uncle John's shop, barbing salon shop, on the Google Maps. And someone will think, well, what's the use of putting Uncle John's shop on Google Maps? I mean, how many people use Google Maps? You never know. People are new to cities every single day. So, and on a Sunday, people are not out. And if I'm new to a city, I'll open my Google Maps and be like, oh, the closest barbing salon. And I see Uncle John's shop on the map. You have helped Uncle John. He could have lost that client because the client may not have wanted to look around for a barbing shop because they'll just give up and say, it's Sunday, so I understand. So we can help many Uncle Johns that are in our midst, many Uncle Johns that we know, for those that are willing to accept help. Because we should also realize that Uncle John's time is far. And so we have to explain to them what's in it for them. Because you cannot be telling Uncle John, open TikTok. Uncle John can understand that his squadron is giving him strength. And his squadron is boosting him. His squadron is giving him that strength that we get when we hear motivation. And nobody is motivating Uncle John. In fact, the Eba Uncle John 8 is not even enough. So how do we convince Uncle John that, Uncle John, if you open a TikTok account, if you open a Facebook account, if you start a YouTube channel, and you talk about your struggles of being a bus driver, and which is not a good thing because he saves a lot of us going to school. When you talk about your struggles being a bus driver and the things you like being a bus driver and what you ate in a day, you can engage with audience just like you and me, Uncle John. And then you will feel a sense of community because I think a sense of community, sometimes we overlook the importance. So how do we even convince Uncle John that, hey, technology is your friend though? I know you've lost a lot of things and you don't have a house right now, which is very temporary. Uncle John, with technology, you feel like you have a whole village supporting you, Uncle John. Don't you think so? And Uncle John will be like, if Uncle John is an open-minded adult. Also depends on how we approach Uncle John. We can't approach Uncle John on his bad days because then you will not expect good results. So you know how to approach Uncle John and how to talk to Uncle John before you even suggest. So how many Uncle Johns do you know, and how many times have Uncle Johns saved you? And how can you help the Uncle Johns that you know in your own little way? Please share with me and I would love to hear your response. And as always, just see you,